I'm gonna open up a first edition Neo pack. I'm gonna open up a first edition Neo pack at the end of this video. So feel free to just like skip all this if you don't want to listen to a story and watch the opening, or watch it and then, yeah, I know, I changed clothes. I shot this once, I didn't like it, I'm reshooting it again. But I think it's time to tell a story. And for those of you that don't want to listen to the story, I think I'm just bragging, you can just skip ahead to the pack opening. You know, one of the things that I attribute to a lot of my past success and what I'm gonna be doing in the future here is my podcast. So I'm gonna be revitalizing the podcast. I'll say it again later, but the PokemonRadarig podcast is coming back. So I'm really excited to announce that. I don't have a date yet for when the first episode is going to be out, but it is going to be soon. So yeah, story time. This is the story of how I sold Pokemon to Logic. Now this goes all the way back to 2020, well into the peak of like shutdown, quarantine, Pokemon's about to pop off, before the Logan Paul first edition base set box break, but this goes back to a very memorable day. Now the reason that this popped up in my head today was because on the way home, the song 1-800 came on, and it gave me a flashback to some not so great memories where I listened to that song kind of on repeat for a very long time. And I'm not gonna go into details about why, at least not today, maybe in another video. That was a song that I listened to a lot because it just helped put me in a better mindset. And I was a big fan of Logic, you know, before this time happened, and I learned his story, I learned a lot of his music, and just was a big fan of him. When this came out, it just like meant a lot to me. So, you know, fast forward through quarantine, and I'm back in Michigan, had moved from California, working my same job that I started out at the college. You know, big change, right? Quarantine happened, shutdowns, but the big change for me was going from California for 3 years to back to Michigan. And I wasn't very happy. So I was looking for an excuse to get out, looking for different jobs, looking for some reason to kind of take on the next thing in my career, in my life. And not that you know, my job was fantastic. I love those people. Like I'll bring it back around here at the end, but you know, I was just kind of slowly building to find that next opportunity, and it just happened to be Pokemon. My Pokemon business started to outpace income-wise my 9-to-5. Things were getting very exciting in the Pokemon world because of quarantine. And on the very day that I ended up quitting, I was sitting at my desk, doing nothing, waiting to leave, and well, I still had like, you know, a week or two afterwards. But the day that I quit, the day that I walked into my boss's office and said, hey man, I have this opportunity to take Pokemon on full time, and I'm gonna go for it. And you know, no bad blood at all with this old company, you know, very, very gracious, you know, very good relationships there. But you know, they understood. I took this opportunity and I quit. And that very day, sitting at my desk, where I'm thinking about what the hell am I going to do without a paycheck coming in every 2 weeks, without insurance, how am I going to survive? Get a message from a friend of mine who I had on the podcast that said he had a friend who was looking for a first edition Neo Destiny box. I had just bought a Neo Destiny box. There was Insurgents and base set, jungle, fossil, all this stuff, right? And it hadn't hit Neo yet, so I bought a Neo first ed base box, and you know, I wasn't really keen on selling it at the time. I was kind of waiting for a bigger spike to hit. You know, we just went back and forth for a while. I wasn't really interested in selling until he told me who was looking to buy it. It was Logic. So, of course, being a huge fan of him and good friends with this guy, or am good friends with this guy, you know, I figured I'd help make this happen, make some money, sell this box to Logic, and look to create a relationship with one of my favorite artists. So I got the opportunity to speak directly with Logic quite a bit for a very short period of time, maybe like 2 or 3 months. But it was this incredible moment in time for me. I was very excited, very happy, I was just like, it was just perfect timing where I quit my job and then the next day I'm selling Pokemon cards to a celebrity. It was mind-blowing. I didn't really know how to handle it. I mean, I handled it well, obviously, on the outside, but on the inside, figuring out how to manage that with my life and what was going on, it was just very, very difficult. And, you know, although that was very cool, it was a very awesome moment. I'm very happy and gracious of my friend for giving me that opportunity. You know, it ended up turning into nothing but selling him cards. which is great and all. Again, who knows what's out there in the future. I know he's talked to other people. It's not like this huge deal, but it was cool. I was the one he called when he was bidding on that base set PSA 10 first edition Charizard that went viral in the news all over the place and kind of blew up that card. He paid like $232 for it. He was bidding on it. I told him what buyer's premium was. He was like, what? 20%? Like, he had no idea what he was doing, but he was excited, and we were happy. I was happy to like educate him a little bit at least on some things. And so that was really cool. Like, that's a piece of history that I remember that was really great. And again, it's cool and all, but it really didn't amount to much. It actually, looking back on it took away a lot more than what I gained. And I hate to look at relationships from a transactional standpoint, but I think it's important to talk about because relationships are a give and take world. Like, you help each other out, whether you look at it monetarily or just for an emotional thing or whatever. Like, there's always give and take, and I think it's important to talk about things because you need to learn about this stuff, and people should be more open and honest and just be loyal and all that. So I look back at that time, that like short period where I would drop anything if someone like Logic or someone of that in that same vein called me. This is what, 4 or 5 years ago now, 4 years ago, 4 years ago now. I can do math. While I was doing the podcast, before I was going out to shows and doing all this stuff, I had this quarantine girlfriend, which was fantastic. It was a great relationship. But when I quit my job, I started working crazy hours because I didn't know really what to do and how to manage my work-life balance, whatever crap. And I gave her 0 time. And then the moment that this happened with Logic, it was like, I remember very vividly. I was about to go meet her parents for the first time. Walking up to the door, Logic called me. I said, I gotta take this. And she was livid, like, understandably. And it ended up being like a 40-minute phone call, so that just looked terrible on my part. It was an awful thing for her, made her look bad. But moments like that just like took away from a really great relationship. And then I also remember that time during that auction where he was bidding. I was at my annual golf outing with all my high school buddies, and I'm on the phone with him instead of hanging out with my friends. I was on the course, and he was calling me about opening a base set box, telling me about it instead of golfing with my friends. I was being annoying. Like, I was skipping shots. I was kind of ruining the fun of the weekend for little slivers of time. Looking back at it, I 100% just like would have had a better experience if I didn't let that happen. Not only did I wouldn't say I would have rather taken one than the other, but managed it way better. I just quit this job, which I'll bring it full circle here after this little moment, but I just quit this job, so I was just doing anything that I could to keep it going and make money and to make sure that I wasn't going to go broke. And I did that at the expense of a beautiful relationship, my friends are still there, the relationship is not. And that awesome Destiny box, but that's all right. So I did well on it. But to bring it back full circle, I'm going to Japan this year for the Pokemon World Championships, and I just contacted my boss, who actually so happens lives in Yokohama now. So I'm going to get to see him, thank him again for everything that he did for me. And that's going to be a really great moment to see him, 5 years later to where I am now. He kind of, he's this older Japanese guy that treated me like a son, honestly, at work, which was very out of the ordinary at this place of work. And I have so much to thank him for, and I want to see him. I want to show him and make him proud. He was like my work dad. It was very great relationship there. So I'm very excited to see him. Can't wait for that moment in Japan, just to shake his hands and speak with him for however long I can. But yeah, this will kind of, again, roll over to next week, where I'm going to talk about 3 key things that helped build my success early on, and the 3 core things that I'm going to focus on as I'm rebuilding my business. And I think that other people should focus on as well when they're building their businesses, not just Pokemon. So let's go over and open up that pack. But welcome to everybody who just skipped the entire video. Probably go back and watch it. Fun story. However, before we get started, I have some fun news. I'm going to start podcasting. Yep, podcast is coming back. Collectors with Cards Drinking Coffee, PokemonRadarig podcast. I don't know what I'm going to officially call it yet, but we are going to reboot the podcast. So please stay tuned for that. Look out for announcements. Follow me on Instagram. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell notification thing. And let me know what you think I should call the new podcast. So let's get right into this Neo Revelation pack. I did open up one of these on my birthday recently and pulled the Houndoom. And then I sold one to Old School Pokemon, and he pulled a Nubluff? Blossom? One of the two. So let's see how we do here. I don't know what the pack trick is. That's certainly okay. We're going to jump right into it, open up the pack. So, of course, you see the first edition stamp on the left, starting off with an A-Palm. Commons first, and then we have a spin-up. A nice Mori bag sign. Remoraid. Lugma. Double. Goldeen. Another Yukimori. We now save it to the end for those who don't know what it was. We got the Golbat. We've got a Lantern. We've got a Sea King. Our Goldeen. And our rare is... Woo-hoo-hoo! We got an Entei, first edition Neo Revelation Entei. Look at that holo. Look at that swirl. Oh my. This is my favorite legendary beast, legendary dog. So I'm more than happy to have this added to the collection. That is too tight of a sleeve. What a beautiful card right there. Wonderfully well centered. Let's go, dude. All right, that was what, a Raikou pack art for the Entei. Well, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. And again, please hit that subscribe button. Follow me on Instagram and stay tuned for the podcast, which will be coming out again soon.